We only got a year and a half. Now I just get to walk by a plaque in the church.
Yeah, but you got together.
And I'm grateful for that. It's just that, you know, Maggie...
Look, you miss them. I know. I miss my dad, too.
Okay, Maggie, you know, your father...
No problem.
I'm bringing me good things.
Oh, well, then it must have come from my Uncle Sloan, then. He was always my champion.
He did always speak very proudly about you.
Oh. Well, I know how much he must have loved you, because I never even thought he would hold anybody else's hand except Aunt Becky's, let alone remarry. I mean...
Okay, so, Viki, maybe you'd like to sit down for a while.
Sure.
Okay.
Excuse me. Sure.
Doesn't seem like a year. Same time, it seems like forever.
You know, Andrew, he was in my life such a very brief time. And yet after he died, I don't think I've ever felt that alone in my entire adult life. Without Sloan, I literally went to pieces.
Sometimes you just get one blow too many.
I often wonder what life would have been like, how different it would have been if he were still alive. I wonder if maybe all this wouldn't have happened. Ifs, right? Ifs. If ifs and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no need of tinkers.
Oh, Viki, you had a harrowing year.
I wasn't even around for most of it, Andrew. So much of it was a blank, you know. So in a way, I haven't even begun to mourn for him. But I miss him so much.
I miss him, too. So, Maggie, looks like your dad is running a little late. Viki, are you all right? I imagine you're a little tired from the service.
No, but thank you very much, Andrew. It was very important for me to be here today, you know, to begin to say goodbye. I was just thinking about my father. And how much I always thought Sloan was like my father. Well, like the idealized version of my father. I think Sloan was what Victor Lord could have been if things hadn't gone so terribly wrong in him. Maybe that's why I married Sloan. Maybe it was a way of trying to reclaim all the things that I had once loved in my father.
Are you sure you're all right?
Yes, I'm fine. I just realized that there's someone else I need to say goodbye to.
Goodbye to console me. I am sorry. Why did you stop by to see your priest?
Oh, I guess because I've been kind of feeling the way you just described, you know. Except about everyone. It seems I woke up from this nightmare of my own troubles to discover that all the constants in my life are changed. Clint has moved on. I mean, he's found someone else. That's good, you know. My formerly angelic daughter is now rebellious and very angry.
In other words?
It seems like the world has just moved on and left me behind.
Sir?
He's so sure that she's deeply, truly, permanently in love with Christian Vega, you know. All she does is fight with me. She fights with Clint. I barely recognize her half the time.
But she's still the girl that you raised. And I'm not making light of what you're going through with her. It's tough. But you and Clint laid a fantastic foundation for Jessica. She's a tremendous kid. She has a great sense of herself and where she fits in the world. I really believe that this is just part of a separation process, and it is all going to work out in the end.
A phase she's going through, right? My old college sociology professor, boy, I haven't thought about him in years. He used to say, nothing is ever always. Oh, we thought that was so cute. And now, here we are. My boys, they're men, you know. They're all grown up. They have lives of their own. As far as my daughter's concerned, I'm totally irrelevant. Clint has moved on, as I said, and Sloan is gone. I don't know, everybody seems to have changed except me.
You don't really believe that, do you?
Oh, I probably don't, but it does feel that way.
Then I'm going to have to remind you of something. I'm going to have to remind you that you fought demons. Daunting opponents. You won. You got your life back. You got a whole new life in the bargain. You're not alone. You're not irrelevant. Viki, you are certainly not unloved. The feelings will pass.
Yeah? When? Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Excuse me.
Andrew.
Uncle John.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
My goodness.
Well, I guess there's no time like the present. It's about time you met your sister-in-law. This is Viki Carpenter, John Carpenter.
How do you do?
How do you do? Strange meeting now, isn't it, after all that's happened?
Mm-hmm.
It's both a great pleasure and a sad occasion. Viki, I'm so sorry about Sloan. At you. And I'm sorry as well that I didn't come to Sloan's funeral.
That's all right. I apologize. I didn't mean to get all weepy on you. I guess it's meeting you, you know, just made me miss him more than usual.
And if I can apologize just once more, I know you must have thought it rude and uncaring of me not to be here for Sloan's recent memorial.
Oh, no, I understand. You had other considerations, you know. Although I bet Sloan was keeping score. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to make light of his death. You know, we joked a lot. You know, when I first met him, he was terribly serious. I had to resort to drastic measures.
Well, I'm afraid that Uncle John here shares that seriousness flaw with my dad, you know.
Flaw?
Well, Bishop, it's not terminal. Sloan loosened up. I bet he's sitting up there on his perch up in heaven, and he's forgiving us our little holiday from duty.
No doubt about it. I got to tell you, I know my dad and I had our share of troubles, you know, up until he met Viki here.
I'll bet he's delighted that you and I have finally met. Well, if you are planning on staying in town, I hope that you will come and have dinner with my family and me sometime.
I'd like that. Andrew, I just came by to say hello. I had a little talk with Maggie.
Really?
Yes. I'll call you. Viki, it was a pleasure to meet you after all this time.
Thank you so much. You too.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't worry about it. Boy, talking about having to deal with the past all at once. Huh? How are you doing? You okay?
I'm fine.
All right, look it. If you're heading over to Ace...
Mr. Hayes?
Oh, no. Only in case of emergency.
I'm Victoria Carpenter.
That qualifies. Hi.
Hi.
Have a seat. Quickly. So I can sit back down?
Please.
Bless your heart.
Are you ill?
Oh, just hungover.
Perhaps you would like to postpone this until tomorrow.
No, I don't expect to see any part of tomorrow. If and when I make it into a bed, I may not get up for a day or two. Carpe diem. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Would you like coffee? Water? Aspirin?
None of the above.
A gun? To put you out of your misery? Does this happen often?
With increasing regularity.
Does it interfere with your work?
Not so far.
Well, I'm trying to decide how to go out, come in, and start again.
We'd better work with what we've got.
Realistic, isn't it? Since it would appear that you are indeed exactly what I've got.
Clint tells me the deal is contingent on your approval. Are you impressed yet? Just did. I fell among bad companions, but I managed to escape. So, did I blow my chances due to insufficient punctuality?
I'm reserving judgment. My editor-in-chief wants you on this paper.
I like Clint.
In fact, my entire staff seems to have been struck dumb with awe at the very thought of your presence in the building. You are a legend in your own time, Mr. Hayes, and we here at the Banner are quite prepared to invest in that. The question seems to be, are you?
Well, I'm an investigative reporter. I don't invest in legends. And it's Mel. M-E-L.
Mel, I'm well aware of your reputation as a charmer and a writer. What seems to be in question is your dedication to your craft.
Who the hell do you think I was named after?
I have no idea. Is it relevant? I seem to remember there was a Saint Mel.
You better believe it. St. Mel was a fellow traveler of St. Patrick, which made it legitimate for my mother. As far as my dad was concerned, I was named after Mel Ott.
Mel Ott.
New York Giants, 1926, 1947. A gentleman and a hell of an outfielder. I met him once. I never saw him play.
So you were named for a ball player. Oh, of course you were. Your father was a sports writer.
A Giants fan. So one of the best things about my childhood is when he'd show up at noon recess on the other end of the chain link fence at St. Ignatius Playground, and I knew he'd sprung me and we were headed for the game. I could count on that. 10, 15 spring afternoons every year. Twice in my life, I saw my old man cry. When they shot John Kennedy. And one morning, I was about 13. He picked up the newspaper and saw that Mel Ott had died in a car crash someplace in the South. It was a single column, front page. And my father stood there, tears running down his face. Not a sound out of him. This is a damn peculiar job interview.
Well, don't expect me to ask you if you can write.
No, I can write. It's one of the few things left I can depend on.
Let me hear your thoughts on dedication.
In that area, I have two role models. In 20 years, Ott hit .304, including 511 homers and 1,861 RBIs, and my dad never missed a deadline his entire working life. That's dedication to craft.
So, Mel Hayes, what do you have left in common with them except your first and last names?
If you're put off by the formality...
Old man in your cause?
It wasn't meant to be shrewd. And whose call cause is this really, yours or mine? You see, the Banner can survive without you, even though we would be very happy to have you aboard. But you have to be able to give me some assurance that you will not self-destruct at the expense of my newspaper.
Why don't you check out my track record?
I did. Will it hold up?
Will a meteor strike the Earth next week?
Why do you want to work in Landview? You've been swimming in some pretty big ponds. Washington, New York, Paris.
It's been suggested it might save my life.
We're not the Betty Ford Clinic.
I'm interested in a job. That's my road to salvation. Have you got a job?
You know, you can't blame me for being suspicious. If all you want is to get out of Washington, you could have had your pick of a lot of newspapers who have many more awards on their walls.
Does the name Ed Kranepool mean anything to you?
Let me hazard a guess. Another ball player.
Yeah, he was the first Met. What Ott was to my father, Kranepool was to me. Ed Kranepool played in 1962 in the worst ball club in Major League history. And 7 years later, he was a world champion.
I don't think the Banner is the worst in the league.
Not by a long shot. But you're not world champions either. You want awards? Then give me a desk when I need one, an unlimited supply of notebooks, and absolute, unqualified support in every word I write, and I'll see to it that you get the pennant, and then some.
Drink doesn't seem to have affected your self-confidence.
So how about it, Vic?
I see. Now you're putting your own conditions on the table.
It's pretty basic stuff.
Oh, the desk and the notebooks, yes. The unconditional support has to be earned.
I see it as an act of faith. If I'm prepared to fall on a grenade for you and your paper, I want to be sure you do the same thing for me. Even if that includes taking a lot of flack from your friends and family, not to mention your lawyers. Especially your lawyers. Can you handle that?
Who is interviewing whom?
It's congenital. Something you should know about me, I'm not impressed with authority.
Oh, really? I could have guessed that.
I've seen a lot of empty suits in my day. Anyone can call themselves a publisher.
Well, you can't be too careful.
Sure you can. Miss all the fun? No joy in Mudville?
May I ask you a personal question?
How personal?
Did you ever play ball?
Yeah, high school, college.
Were you any good?
Yep.
No professional aspirations, then?
I was scouted by the Mets. I could taste it there for about 10 seconds.
What happened?
That's the oldest story in the book. I couldn't hit a major league curve.
Good. Then you'll know better than to ever throw me one. Because I'll take you downtown if you do. Can you handle that, Hayes? What the hell? Welcome to the Banner, Mel.
Satisfactory. So, what clinched it? That I was a failed ball player?
I'm going to go tell Clint, and you can dicker with him on the particulars.
Sure thing. And, as long as you're not using your office. Vic?
Swing, eh? Yeah, well, I'll be there just as soon as I can get away from here, okay? Oh, no, wait. I have to go see Andrew first. Okay, but I'll be there. I will. Bye.
Did I hear the magical word party?
It's a children's party, Mel.
Oh, I see. And celebrants are not yet of drinking age.
No, and unfortunately, many of them never will be.
Why so?
It's a party that the Sloan Carpenter Foundation sponsors annually at the hospital for children with AIDS.
Ah, that's the charity that's named after your late husband? Mm-hmm. I had no idea he was involved in the war on that damn plague.
He wasn't. Not at all, I'm afraid. See, one of his sons, William, was gay and died of AIDS. Unfortunately, Sloan never got to
accept him until long after he was dead, which of course was too late.
Fathers and sons, the closest of strangers. Sloan understood your father well enough, and Todd's too. That book of his on Victor Lord is still the best biography of a newspaperman I've ever read. It's just totally fair, totally balanced, and precisely because of that, a devastating portrait of a man corrupted by his own genius.
Yes.
Which provides interesting genetic insight into Todd. Did you see him?
Yes, yes. Well, it would hardly be the first time that Todd used the Sun to settle scores. Of course, at the Banner, we only settle for journalism.
No, it's called standards. You have them, Todd doesn't. My wife had a particularly bad case of high standards. Sunday mornings, pots of coffee, 4 newspapers. She read, she questioned, she dissected. Some of my best columns were just distillations of her outrage.
How long has it been?
Since she was erased from the world. 21 months. And Sloan, when did he die?
Sloan died in December. My God, it's more than 2 years already. Doesn't even seem possible. Except that I already have so many memories of life without him. All the weddings and the births, other deaths, all the things that I fully expected to experience with him.
How mad were you?
Oh, I was quite mad, actually. And I was very angry and baffled and scared.
Oh, yeah?
Sloan gave me such joy. He was offering me possibilities of every kind. He was my compass and my star guide. Then all of a sudden, he was just gone so quickly. And I guess I kind of fell into a whirlpool from which I barely managed to escape.
I think I'm still in the whirlpool. I'm not sure whether I'm at the bottom or the top, somewhere. And I'm still not sure whether I'll pull out of it.
Well, I think I know you well enough to know that you can, if you choose.
Ah, that's the hard part, isn't it? To choose life.
Mm-hmm. That's the hard part, until you realize you don't really have any other choice.
Just let me go.